Hi everyone, my name is Lyra Mackay. I work for Zoho based in Queensland, Australia. I am the Evangelist and Customer Advocacy Manager for Australia and New Zealand. And I'm joined by Nate Stirk from SpaceCubed, who is a passionate designer, facilitator, and developer with a constant curiosity to tackle human-centered solutions in creative ways. Over the last 5 years, he has helped over 9,000 people explore design, entrepreneurship, and innovation skills through a variety of leadership roles. It's great to have you join us, Nate, and I look forward to hearing more about you and SpaceCubed. So
Thanks.
First question, dive right in. Awesome. Can you start by explaining SpaceCube's role in enabling innovation amongst the Western Australia startup community?
Yeah, cool. So firstly, thanks for having me. So my role is ecosystem lead at SpaceCube. So as part of that role, I help kind of bind the ecosystem together through connection, collaboration. So SpaceCube was founded in 2011 by our founder and managing director, Brodie McCulloch. Originally was off a small grant provided by Laurie West with the intention of creating a co-working space, which was kind of early days in the co-working scene, particularly in WA. It was one of the first co-working spaces. Over the last 10 years, we've grown significantly. So we now have about 6 spaces across Australia in quite diverse locations, including Western Sydney. So we have the Western Sydney Startup Hub, so gone outside of WA now. Our mission is all about helping innovators and change makers and empowering them through skills and programs. And so our mission is to actually have or to empower 1 million innovators and change makers by 2030. So in addition to our co-working spaces, we also have a number of programs. So we have the She Codes Female Coding Program, which has been running for about 7 years, and that's helped thousands of women get into coding across Australia. So we have programs here and in Brisbane as well. And so they range from 1-day boot camps all the way up to 6-month intensive programs that really result in jobs. We also have our +8 accelerator program. So we provide support through a 6-week program to help early stage entrepreneurs validate their idea. And then we also have a venture-backed accelerator fund as well. So we've run that 7 times. We've had about 60 startups go through that. And the portfolio value for those startups are about $106 million. And so that's one of WA's longest running accelerator programs. We run that once a year. It runs for about 10 months. A highly competitive program and one of the most prestigious accelerator programs in WA. And then the last piece is the piece that I lead called the Innovative Society Initiative. So that program is all about helping WA build a stronger culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. And the way that we do that is through 3 things. So we have Mesh Points, which is our ecosystem, which has about 110 different organizations from incubators, funders, philanthropic organizations, and entrepreneurial support organizations all working together to build new initiatives. We also have a fund. So we provided $6 million by Laurie West last July to fund initiatives that support the ecosystem. And we also have something called the Innovative Society Index, which is around mapping and measuring the impact of our ecosystem. So over that 10 years, SpaceCube has really grown to be one of the kind of premier innovation hubs and drivers of activity for innovation in WA. If you talk to anyone in WA, almost all roads for startups and entrepreneurs and innovation leads back to SpaceCube at some point or another. But the good news is we do have quite a robust ecosystem that's growing, and we've seen about 6.5 times growth in activity over the last 5 years. And so we've managed to measure and map kind of that activity over time, and we can see a really strong growth trajectory of our startup activity, venture capital activity, and early stage ideation activity in WA.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for that overview, Nate. You guys sound like you're definitely in the startup and technology community and ecosystem in WA, so that's awesome. What kind of technology do you see these Perth-based startups using and requiring to operate their businesses efficiently?
Yeah, so a lot of the businesses that we work in WA, due to our natural competitive advantage, we have lots of resources startups, so people working in AI, automation, robotics, those sort of things. We have quite a lot of agri-tech, so the ag tech sector is quite robust here. And we also have quite a lot of health and medicine, as well as traditional SaaS style companies. So, as we know, with emerging technologies, the technologies that those startups could be using range from anything from AI down to CRMs, down to digital marketing tools. And I'd say the capacity for those entrepreneurs is pretty advanced. I think most people, due to the programs and support available, have a good sense of those sort of tools and digital platforms required to see them to make their business successful, and that's growing every single day as new technologies are created.
Awesome, very good. And do you see Western Australia startups facing any challenges in terms of getting access to world-class technology to run their businesses?
Probably only in the early stage when it comes to the very start of an entrepreneurial journey where they may be cash strapped. So, some technologies are quite expensive. So I think most people have a good sense of what's available to them. It's probably more about the time they adopt them in their entrepreneurial journey, primarily due to cash. I don't think it's much due to capability. I think it's more to do with having the money to spend on the right tools.
Yeah, okay. And how has Zoho's technology addressed some of these challenges for these startups?
I think anyone that works in entrepreneurship knows that knowing your customer and engaging with your customer in a meaningful way is the most critical thing, particularly in the early stage. So doing deep customer empathy, customer discovery. And so platforms like Zoho allow you to connect with your customers in a meaningful way and to better understand who it is that you're serving. So I think that's how Zoho is helping startups here in WA.
Yeah, okay, great. For most of the East Coast, WA often feels isolated. So do you see WA's remoteness as a challenge for local startups to gain business interstate? And what do you think emerging startups should do to leverage those opportunities across the whole of Australia?
Yeah, so a lot of the work that we do with startups is thinking global first. So, of course, Eastern States is a market, but as a population of only 26 million in Australia, it's actually quite a small market if you're looking for a global competitive business. And so one of the advantages that people often don't think about in WA is that we are in the +8 time zone, which is why our program is called +8. And so what that means is we actually share a time zone with about 30% of the world's population. So we're in the same time zone as Hong Kong, as Singapore, as well as Indonesia as well. And so there's a huge opportunity there. And with India, we're only a couple of hours different with parts of India as well. So we actually encourage our startups to consider looking globally north rather than east when it comes to startups. And I think the advantage of being remote is that our community is quite tight. WA's got a population of about 2.6 million. Most of them are in metropolitan Perth, but we're a very connected ecosystem. So we've got partners through the Innovative Society Initiative across WA, thousands, 4,000, 5,000 kilometres away north, but they're still connected in because it is that, smaller ecosystem, which means that we have a much better opportunity to collaborate together. So one, I think we actually have a competitive advantage that Eastern States doesn't have in being in the +8 time zone. And secondly, being smaller actually has the advantage of being more nimble and being more connected.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't actually think of that, going north and to other countries instead of coming east, because on the East Coast, we are quite separated with the time zone. So that's a real advantage for those over in WA.
I mean, Indonesia's got like 300 million people and it's one of our closest neighbours. So it's quicker to go to Bali than it is to go to Sydney.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, great. And lastly, I'd love you to share a quote connecting the dots of entrepreneurship, innovation, and software adoption. And if you could try and align with the theme of removing barriers and welcoming all, that would be great.
Yeah, I think that the heart of modern entrepreneurship is collaboration, whether that be with your customers, your stakeholders, your investors, or your software providers. So I think, I think the agility to try and test and adopt new technologies is really critical with that collaborative mindset. And we just see, our partnership with SpaceCube and Zoho to be a great opportunity to expand the value that we provide to our members and our startups and our community by providing a really great piece of technology.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to Nate Stirk from SpaceCubed. It was great to learn more about what you guys do in the WA community. And I hope to learn more in the future.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.